Hey guys, I'm back. It's me, Flipper's Paragraph, with another review, this time of the 1973 Hungarian film János Vitéz, otherwise known as Johnny Corncob. Now, I explained a few reviews back that the streaming service that I use the most, the Criterion channel, is having this promotion on animated films. And I've recently been going through most of those, which is why so many of these reviews are animated. And you might be asking, like, why are you watching these movies? And fuck if I know. So, this is like one of the last ones. I'm kind of almost done with the animated section on Criterion. So, I'll get into more live action movies and more movies that you guys want to watch pretty soon. So, anyway, János Vitéz is going to be my first strongly negative review, because this thing is a piece of shit, okay? That's kind of mean, but it's really not good, okay? So, let me just pull out my notes. Look at these look at these fucking notes. Look at this. All of this is for János Vitéz. Like, I know you couldn't read any of it because my handwriting is garbage and it's out of focus, but like, still, this movie is, there's a lot. There's like a lot. Okay. So, here's the story. It's based on this old poem by Sandoff Betofi. I know I'm not pronouncing that right, but whatever. And it's just the story of this soldier named Johnny Corncob who is trying... It's difficult to even talk about the story because it's so loose and there's barely any of it and it doesn't even make that much sense. But there's this guy, Johnny Corncob, and he falls in love with this girl named Ilva, something like that. And he's originally a shepherd, but he turns into a soldier to fight a battle to, like, see her again. And he encounters, like, a bunch of, like, magic creatures and a witch. And eventually he gets to the island of fairies, where he becomes king of the fairies, and his love, Iluva, or whatever her name is, becomes the queen of the fairies. You might be thinking to yourself, Flippers, what happens in the middle? And the answer is not much. Not much at all. Like, not at all. Fucking nothing happens in this fucking movie, and yet I have, like, a whole goddamn page of notes for it. Okay, so let's start off right off the bat with the opening credits. The music is terrible, okay? The music is so overdramatic. It's like... It's just this annoying trumpeter fanfare. This whole orchestra got together, and the music is actually the best aspect of the movie. Because the music is kind of goes along with the action. Like, if a character is scared, the animation is super childish, but if a character is scared and he'll go, ah, then the music will have, like, violins going, nah, or whatever. It's just, the opening already is just so overdramatic and overblown and over everything that it's just difficult for me to take it all seriously. And, okay. The style of the film is that of a small child doing the animation, okay? It's like, it's so lazy and it feels so cheap. And I talked about other animated films that feel kind of rough around the edges, like The Girl Without Hands. And The Girl Without Hands, the difference is that the style, while it's minimalistic, it doesn't feel cheap. This movie just feels fucking cheap, which it's fine to make a cheap movie and to make an inexpensive movie, but do your best to make it not look inexpensive. Like, come on. It's fine for something to be cheap, but it's not okay for it to look cheap. I mean, it's okay, sure, but I'm gonna mark points off for it, because, like, why would you have something that looks cheap? This movie was made for the equivalent for, like, $35,000 in 1973. Like, that's not a little bit of money. You can make some pretty good shit with that. Fucking Primer was made with $7,000 in today's money. Like, come on. You can do better. You can do better. Like, these aren't, like, stupid filmmakers, I assume. I mean, I can only assume. I don't know. They made a pretty dumb movie. But these aren't, like, brain-dead filmmakers. There are people that supposedly know what they're doing. So for a bit of historical context, this is Hungary's first feature film. It's directed by Marcell Jankovics. He was in the art department for Emperor's New Groove. Like, he knows animation. He knows what he's doing. But still, he made this childish, cheap, garbage-looking movie. I mean, seriously, just look at some of the screenshots online. Look at them. They're garbage. They look like crap. They look like a kid did it. They look like I did it. And that is not a high praise because I don't know anything about animation. I don't know jack shit. I'm an idiot. And I could have done better. Like, do better. Do better. You can do better. I know you can. If you were in the art department for Emperor's New Groove, I know you can do better. The sound in this film is fucking terrible, okay? I'm not even kidding. The sound, like, between the okay music and just the sound of just these, like, oh my god. Okay, so there's a scene where the woman, Iluva, I'm just going to call her Iluva. I'm not going to look up what her actual name is because fuck this movie. I don't want to do any more research. She is, like, washing clothes, and I swear to God, the sound is just like... It's just this awful, garbage, horribly recorded trash, and it's impossible to watch and take seriously at the same time. It's terrible. I can't begin to describe how bad the animation and the sound is. It's just, and that's everything pretty much. Like, think about it. What else is there in an animated movie besides the animation and the sound? The performances? The performances suck too. I'll let you know a little secret. The performances suck too. Like, the performances, okay. The witch, the doorman, Johnny Corncob himself, Iluva has like 2 lines, so I can't even count her. And all of these side characters, they're just like, every line they say is just, They're trying so hard to be like classically trained actors, and they're just failing on every single affront. Like, this whole movie is an affront to humanity. That's too mean. But this whole movie is an affront on voice acting. I mentioned the other day, a few weeks ago, that The Girl Without Hands is like a masterclass in voice acting. That's what to do. This is what not to do. This movie is just a lot of blubbering, a lot of blundering dialogue, a lot of clumsy dialogue. And, like, some of the dialogue is okay. Some of it's okay, but most of it isn't. Most of it is just this clunky delivery, this, like, jarring dialogue from this poem, which I assume is taken straight from the poem. This poem is not great, probably. I'll read it just now. I'll read it, and I'll tell you what I think of it. Okay, so I actually read the first 2 pages, and the poem isn't that bad, but the film is still pretty bad. So, another thing is that this film feels like it's made for really, really, really young kids, because they're trying to communicate a lot of things. Or should I say, I should emphasize that they're trying to, but it feels like they're communicating the same redundant information over and over again. Like, for example, there's a montage when Iluva and Johnny Corncob have their first kiss, where they, like, turn into, like, a butterfly and they fly away and all this shit. And it's like, okay, we get it, the kiss was sweet, but this montage lasts for, like, 3 minutes. And the only thing that they're trying to communicate is that the kiss was great. Like, there's nothing else that they're trying to say. There's no other important information. It's just that, and that's the only shit that we get out of this montage. And on top of that, there's a second kiss montage with the exact same information repeated. The kiss was nice. That's all that they had to say. And we understood it. We understand how much Johnny Corncob is in love with Iluva for no reason, really. She has no likable traits. She has no traits at all. Johnny Corncob, by the way, an extremely unlikable character. Like, he's just a massive cunt, kinda. Like, he approaches like Iluva and just straight up starts harassing her. Like, I get that it was 1973 and times were different and all, but he just goes up to her, seemingly a stranger, and just goes, "My love, you're the one, kiss me or else I'll die," or whatever. It's awful. It's just, there's no character to any of them. They just feel like caricatures. They're caricatures. They're not characters. They have nothing to them, and it's just embarrassing to watch, honestly. It's also, okay, so it's Hungary's first animated film, and it's so safe. Like, come on. They couldn't have done anything. Like, I get that the animation style itself is a little risky and out there, but, like, they couldn't have chosen anything better for the story. I get that, like, movies like Belladonna of Sadness and The Girl Without Hands, sorry that I keep bringing it up so much, but I have to. It's another animated movie based on, like, a poem or a short story or a Grimm Brothers story or whatever. I keep bringing it up because it's The Girl Without Hands is this movie done right. Because János Vitéz is just, it's safe, it's predictable. Like, there's a scene where Iluva dies, and it's just like, you know she's gonna come back somehow, and she does, of course she does. And it's just so safe and so watered down. It feels, watching this movie is like eating stale bread. It's like eating old bread. I can't think of any other way to say it. It's congee with bread. It's just stale and flavorless, and there's no pastiche, there's no homage, there's no nothing. There's no artistry behind it. There's just a lot of animation. There's just a lot of pictures that were made. It doesn't feel like there was any artistry behind it. It doesn't feel like there was any craft behind it. It's a little infuriating, honestly. This movie makes me mad. The style, I've talked about style and story balance and how it's like a dance between them before. This is a movie that fucks up that dance. Everyone's stepping on each other's toes. Nobody knows the moves. Nobody knows jack shit. Like, the style is just taking the story by storm. And it just doesn't do anything to help the fucking movie. Like, nothing about this is helping the movie. It's just distracting. And it's just it's actually actively interrupting the story. Because the style is so like controlling and demanding that it makes it difficult to understand what is actually going on. Like I mentioned, montages where these like abstract sort of ideas sort of pop up, and that's all well and good. But it's so abstract and so far gone that it's difficult to understand what is actually happening. You take an abstract movie, something by like Louise Buñuel, like Belle de Jour or something like that. Belle de Jour is a great fucking movie, by the way. Belle de Jour has these abstract ideas in it, but you know what it's trying to communicate. In this movie, you have no idea what it's trying to communicate because it's so lost up its own fucking ass that it has no idea what it's trying to say. Terrible battle scenes. Terrible fucking battle scenes. Terrible battle scenes that have no real fighting. It's all just like swoosh, 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 and it's like partly a war movie. So like this is important. This is important shit. The movie wastes so much time. The movie wastes a lot of time with just being up its own ass and not knowing what it wants to be and not knowing what it wants to do and just being lost in like in the ether of style and having no substance whatsoever. I don't know how great János Vitéz gets the poem János Vitéz, but like there's no way there's so little story. They had to have like stripped down the poem to make this movie because I don't believe that the Petoff or whatever Petoff is the director of Catwoman. Petoff or whatever the poet's name is, I don't believe that he would have actively written like such a storyless poem. It's just infuriating. This whole experience, this whole film, it's just infuriating to watch. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend this movie to anyone unless you're like a diehard Hungarian cinema fan, unless you're a diehard animation fan. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone. I am giving this movie a 24% for the music, for the style, for some of the character designs, and that's about it. That's all this movie has to offer. So if you like that shit, go watch it. If you don't watch it. Save yourself the time. Watch something better. It's an hour and 17 minutes. Trust me, it feels like 3 hours because nothing happens. So, sorry about the angry rant, but bad movies make me mad. So, yeah, thank you all for watching. Subscribe, like, comment. Subscribe to the Patreon, subscribe to Twitch, and let me know what I should review next. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.